friends, and welcome back. One of my favorite things about this podcast is the incredible community we've built together. Thank you for joining me for another conversation about eBay, life, and everything in between. This is episode number 273 of eBay the Right Way. Today's date is June 10th, 2026, and my guest is Terry in Georgia. Quick announcement. Thank you to everyone who reached out with prayers, encouragement, and well wishes for my spinal injections last week. I truly appreciate your kindness. The procedure went well, and I'm already noticing some relief. One thing I learned is that these injections don't simply provide temporary pain relief. In my case, they're intended to reduce the inflammation and swelling associated with spinal stenosis. The stenosis is being caused by a thickened ligament that has enlarged over time and is pressing on the nerves that travel down into my legs and feet. The doctor explained it can take 2 to 3 weeks to experience the full effect of the injections. But the encouraging news is that when the inflammation decreases and pressure on the nerves is reduced, relief can last for many months. I will say it was quite an adventure. At one point, literally shocking. First, they injected contrast dye so they could view the area on a screen and precisely guide the procedure. Next came the lidocaine to numb the injection sites. Then the medication was delivered directly into the affected nerve area. When the needle touched the irritated nerve bundle, I honestly felt like I had been struck by lightning. A jolt of electricity shot down my leg in an instant. As startling as it was, the doctor assured me that this reaction was expected and confirmed they were targeting the correct location. So that chapter is now behind me. For now, I'm following doctor's orders, taking it easy, and giving my body time to heal. I remain hopeful that this is the first step toward getting back on my feet and returning to a more normal life. Thank you all so much for your love and caring. Okay, now let's visit with Terry.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back. And I have yet another repeat offender this week that reached out to catch us up on her eBay journey. So how are you doing this morning, Terry?
I'm doing great. I'm really glad to be here.
Good. And you just got back from a fun vacation.
I did. I got to visit some family in California. I like visiting. I don't like living there anymore. So It's nice to come back to the East Coast again.
And so where are you located now?
I'm in the Savannah area, just south of Savannah.
Right. I wore my Charleston shirt for you.
Oh, okay.
It's in the area. It's a Cabana Bar shirt that I found at Goodwill for $3.
Oh, yeah.
And what's funny is I wore this to Walmart one day just to do my shopping, and this girl comes up to me and she's like, "Oh my gosh, I used to work at that Cabana Bar."
Oh, really?
Like, really? And she says, "Yeah, I had a shirt exactly like that." And I said, "Really? Did you happen to donate it to Goodwill?" She says, "Yes, I did." And I said, "Well, then this is probably your shirt." Because that's where I got it. So anyway, you never know. But okay, well, you were on a while back, and do you want to catch us up on what you've been doing and how everything has changed and all of that?
Yeah, I've been trying to kind of refine. I'm a part-time seller. I have a full-time job. I don't know if I was working for Chick-fil-A when I last time.
Yes, you were.
Okay,
Yes.
so I left Chick-fil-A in 2024, And I went to work for one of the boutique hotels down in historic Savannah.
Okay.
So I work front desk there and do eBay still very much. That's still in the forefront of what I do. But lately, I've just been really working on making the most of the time that I have because I do have grandchildren that live here that are moving soon. And I also have other family here. So four of my kids are in the area.
Hmm.
So it's, so I'm trying to just be present and making sure I'm doing my eBay stuff because I really do need it to live on, but it's not, I'm trying to not like make it overwhelming, so that I still have time for family and stuff.
Hmm. Okay, good. Well, how is working in the hospitality industry, switching over from the food industry?
Well, it's food industry. Chick-fil-A is still hospitality because I
Right,
was,
absolutely, yes.
yeah. This is just not quite as hectic and it's a lot of downtime. But I do have some very interesting interchanges with some guests and things, and just get to meet people from all over the world because we do have a lot of international people that come and visit Savannah, and then we're also in the top 10 haunted hotels too. So that makes it a little bit of a interesting time because everybody wants to know about the hauntings, the things that happen at the hotel, which I don't have personal experience with, but there's stories, lots of stories. People are always talking about things that happen to them.
Are you comfortable sharing the name of the hotel?
Yeah, it's the Marshall House. It's on
Okay.
Broughton Street, one of the main streets in Savannah. Kind of looks like a New Orleans hotel. It's got a big balcony in front and stuff. So
Well, I've watched several of those haunting shows,
yeah.
paranormal stuff. And what's the legend there about what people are seeing and who they're seeing?
The hotel was built in 1851. It's the oldest hotel in Savannah. It hasn't been a hotel the whole time. It was actually empty for like 50 years, like 1850s till the 90s. And the big thing, the history for it was that there were two epidemics of yellow fever during the late 1800s, and
Mhm.
it was commandeered as a hospital for both of those times. So, and then in the Civil War, when Sherman was completing his march to the sea, he spared Savannah, and he actually they used it as a Civil War hospital as well. So,
Okay.
but then during those yellow fever epidemics, a lot of people died. So there were deaths. I mean, there were bodies piling up, and so they're saying that Savannah is kind of a city of the dead or a
Oh
necropolis.
gosh.
Yeah. So, in fact, just last year, they found another grave just a block away from us when they were doing construction on a new business that was coming in because the historic buildings there.
Okay.
So, yeah, so a lot of people will like the children's ward was on the second floor. So a lot of people will hear kids running up and down the wall, the hallways, and there's nobody there, or they'll hear marbles rolling on the floor, or
Mm.
they'll have little kids trying to tickle their feet. And like trying to pull their covers off and stuff like that.
Oh, playing little tricks on them.
Yeah, and then fourth floor, a lot of times people say that they hear heavy boots walking outside the doors and people knocking on doors and nobody there and stuff like that. So
But you
there's
haven't
been some.
experienced any of this.
The only thing that third floor is more notorious for a phantom cat that seems to be floating around there. So I have heard the cat meow. That's my claim to fame there. That's about all that I've actually stayed at the hotel a couple times. When I went to get the job, I just love history. My family did Civil War reenacting for a number of years, and used to thrift all the things we needed for our camps. And so I just love Civil War and the fact that this was built by a woman by herself before the Civil War. She was a widow and she was quite a property owner in Mary Marshall. And she owned like 29 properties in the city as a single woman in the 1850s. It was just
Good
amazing
for
to me.
her. That's
So,
wonderful.
yeah, so that's what I was enticed by. I didn't have any idea about any of the haunted history, but all the ghost tours that go around town, they stop outside of and stand on the sidewalk in front of the hotel and tell their little tales. Most of them are a little fabricated, but we set people
Hmm.
straight when they come inside.
Well, well, that's just fascinating. What an interesting place to work.
Yeah, it is really. It's very
Very
interesting.
okay. And so you've been working there how long?
It's almost 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I guess
Oh,
it's been over 2 years since we talked last. So
and are
yes,
you part-time there or full-time?
full time. I do the
Mhm.
evening shifts, 2 to 10, 3 to
Okay.
11s.
Oh, the spooky shift.
Yeah, yeah, it's kind of fun.
Okay, okay. I think you win the award for the most unique day job so far on this podcast.
Yes.
The ghost lady. Okay. Well, let's transition over to talking about how you work eBay in with that. And you mentioned that you've made some changes, I guess, since you got this new job or just over the past couple of years as life went along.
Yeah, a lot of it has to do is just being more efficient. I mean, at one point I had over 600 items in my store and I just have a little 3-bedroom house. I have one of my adult sons living with me now, but one of my youngest daughter's supposed to be moving back in. So I have been trying to just the whole thing about sell-through rate, just trying to have a more efficient store so that I'm turning it every 90 days.
Mm-hmm.
And I watched a lot of other people's videos on it. Can I mention names of people I've
Oh,
been
sure.
watching?
Of course. Yes.
So Carrie at Home has a good YouTube channel has a lot of nice good things about like breaking down the sell through rate.
Is
And I
she
always
the one that
understand
does she do the blue jeans?
she does do a lot of jeans. Yeah.
Okay.
She and her husband do full time and she does the eBay stuff. He does all the
Yes.
sourcing.
I
Yeah.
have
And
watched her. Yes.
yeah. Yeah, so she's been doing some different challenges and stuff, but I went back a couple times and watched her sell-through rates. I mean, I've been selling since 2013, so it's not like I'm a newbie or anything, but I really want to learn new things and I want to be as efficient as possible. So the whole sell-through rate thing was when I'm sourcing now, instead of saying, "Oh yeah, this sells," I'm looking exactly at the item. Instead of just the brand, I'm looking at the specific style, the size, the color, and then if I can't find enough information on just what is sold or completed listings, I'm going to that using the eBay's research option for the last 3 years, and I'm really digging deep. Now, it's a bummer if I don't get good Wi-Fi when I'm outsourcing because I just have to kinda shoot from the hip on that sense. But, I mean, I've had some duds but I'm quickly moving them out of my inventory instead of, like, having things sit there for 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
So, I did a
Well,
major
and I think that's very important with clothing is focusing on the size as well as the type of item,
yeah.
because what I've seen in my clothing selling history, which is goes all the way back to 2003, is the larger sizes sell better. There's just not
Mhm.
as many of them. Like I can't give away a size 2.
I know.
I don't know why. It just works. Maybe it's the algorithm in my store, but I do look at that to see, how is this size trending? Because, we don't want to end up with tubs and tubs of clothing that just sits there.
And I don't do a huge amount of clothing because I'm looking for the unique pieces. If I do clothing, I'm not doing bread and butter like just flippers. I'm also trying to find items that are going to be over $20. So I'm kind of limiting. I'm not picking up the little nickel dime stuff anymore cuz like I have like 360 items in my store right now, but my sales for the last 90 days are like almost 340. So I feel like it's moving faster and I'm it's like you would hope that after all these years that I'm getting smarter with the sourcing. I also look for real interesting or different things because different sells. So one thing it's like I'll look at something and all of a sudden I'm like, wait a minute, let me look this up. I was out to a restore with my son and we hadn't been there before and they had a bunch of IKEA shelves, just the shelf pieces of them. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
wait a minute, I got to look these up. And they were $10 a piece, and I ended up selling all of them for like $70, like each individual one. I bought like 5 different shelves. So it was like $50 into, a couple hundred. Easy because it was something that is discontinued and it was selling well. So that's the kind of stuff I'm kind of looking for. I've had some, but shoes is probably my biggest category. And I've watched some other people. I can't think of the name of the flippers, but just different ways of washing them. Of course, I love it if I don't have to wash them, but if I see enough value, I will wash or clean up the shoes. There's even some little reels that come up on, once the whole algorithm thing. Once you
Yeah,
watch
once
one
you
thing,
watch one, that's all you get.
that's right. They just keep going and going. The ones about cleaning shoes, it's like there's a over like an they dub them because they're not in English. I've seen a couple different ladies and a couple guys too, and they're showing different ways of making solutions, mixing soaps and vinegar or alcohol, because like you clean something, you get that alkaline, like the yellowing of stuff, and then
Right.
using the alcohol to offset that. So I've just found different ways that have worked really well for me in that sense. But I was on your group that you have.
Oh, the Facebook group?
No,
The
not the
pre-
Facebook group. That the one that you had, the membership one.
oh, the premium library, the school.
Yes, Premium Library. So for a number of years I was a member of that, and
Yes, you were.
I got a lot of value out of it. But I
Mhm.
still, the whole thing with the being on the lookout for stuff, and I feel like that's always been a wealth of information. Just knowing
Yes.
what to look for.
Well, so let's look at, have you learned any new brands or your go-to items for shoes in the past 3, 4 years since you were last on here? Have you expanded your knowledge on anything there?
I sell primarily women's shoes, but I do some men's shoes as well. And anytime I find Allen Edmonds, I'm always doing a deep dive on that to see if it's a style that's going to sell well. But also, Vionic is a really big seller for me. Anytime I find
Mhm.
Vionic, I don't want to pay a lot of money for them, but they do flip really quickly.
You made quite a few sandals and
Oh, they make
flip-flops,
all
and
kinds of stuff. I mean, I've been
I.
finding, I know I'll look at something and then I'm like, oh my gosh, this is Vionic. And I'm like, I'm grabbing it. Well, even
Mhm.
when I went to California, my sisters know that I've got like, I need to go sourcing. That's just like my hobby. So we actually got a separate suitcase, and I brought back, I think, 17 pairs of shoes to sell, and I'm almost done listing them. But so we had an extra suitcase to come back that I checked, and it was worth it then trying to send them back.
That was so smart. For travelers, you can actually buy a suitcase at a thrift store while you're out
Yeah.
there and just fill that up and bring that back. And
Her neighbor had one.
might
So
be
her
a little
neighbor gave me the
cheaper.
suitcase. It was great.
Do what? Say it
I said
again.
her neighbor gave me the suitcase,
Okay.
and I filled it all up. And Delta broke the wheel off going through luggage, so I got a new suitcase out of it. So too, so that was a win-win on my part.
Good for you. Yeah, I've heard of people doing that, going on a trip and shipping their items back. But it depends on how heavy it is. It may just be cheaper to bring it as a checked bag. And whatever way you work it out, it's a great idea. And people do that when they go to Europe. They'll bring an extra suitcase and fill it
Oh
up with
yeah, like pack it
souvenirs.
inside the other one. Yeah,
Right. Yeah.
yeah. It,
Yeah.
it was definitely cheaper than having to find a box and packing up and not knowing how much something was going to cost. So.
Well, I'm curious if you saw better things out there in California than you see around Savannah, or just different things.
Well, let's just say the cost of living is so much less here than it is in California. Like my sister lives in San Jose. Her house is originally was about the same size as mine. Did a little addition off the back. My house is worth in the 300s. Hers is almost $1.5 million
Mhm.
for the same lot size. Very comparable house.
Well, is she near the Winchester house?
I don't think so. I got it's been so long since I've lived in that area. I mean, I grew up in Fremont. That was where I spent my formative years. But then since the 80s, I've been not out of the Bay Area. So,
That's the only thing I know about San Jose is the eBay is located there and the Winchester house.
and this particular sister used to work for eBay. She was,
Oh, really?
yeah, she did for
What did she
when it was
do?
when I don't even really know. I think it had analytics kind of stuff. It was when eBay and PayPal were still a one company.
Oh, okay, long time ago.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was a long time ago. Yes. So, and one of my other sisters in Oakland, she's a professional organizer, and she deals with items all the time and she has started selling on eBay. In fact, she just texted me last night and said, "Hey, I'm running a max sold for this lot I'm doing, and check it out and see if it's worth my while." She's going to buy it because she wants to sell them on eBay. And there were some Prada shoes and some other high-end shoes in it. So I
Yeah,
did
that's
the
a great
analysis.
marriage of a career to eBay is professional organizers, because my gosh, I bet she comes across so much stuff and hoarders, houses, and
Oh
all
yeah.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because she's settling the estate, so she has to liquidate everything she can, and then she has to find places to get rid of everything, whether or not it's going to earn money or just a donation. It can be challenging, but she knows about things I don't know. She tends towards the a little bit higher end, like knickknack type things. I do hard
Mhm.
goods, but mostly I'm doing the shoes is my largest by far category. But
Okay.
back to some other brands I really look for is orthopedic or diabetic shoes also always
Hmm.
sell well. I must have a following of a lot of older ladies and men because I find some great deals. Like just even yesterday I found some, gosh, I can't remember the brand now all of a sudden, but they're orthopedic shoes that they were brand new with no box and they sell for over $100. I only paid
Hmm.
15. So I was very happy to find that kind of stuff like that.
And there's more and more of them coming as we've got the aging population and more people with type 2 diabetes and the metabolic issues. I know ProPet is a brand that can do well.
Yeah, I've sold some Pro Pet before. Ortho Feet, Doctor Comfort is
Hmm.
another one, and but I just have, and they don't usually stay in the store for very long, especially if they're wide. Like this one is a double wide, and like a men's 10 and a half, so it should sell. And it's just a basic black dress shoe, lace up.
Hmm.
Like checked all the boxes. So
Yeah, my dad wore the diabetic shoes for years, and we used to kid him. They look like Frankenstein shoes. I mean, they have like a really thick sole, and they were just black and plain, and they were horrible. Uh, and now they don't look so bad, especially the women's. They'll make the Mary Janes with the little Velcro strap, and they're obviously not fashion shoes, but they're not terrible like they used to be. Just,
oh
oh,
yeah,
people with diabetic feet, we'll just put anything on them. We don't care if they're ugly. And
yeah, they can't feel their feet anyway.
your feet already hurt. You already have that problem. You don't want your shoes to be ugly.
True, that is true. Yeah.
Yeah.
One other thing that I've sold recently that's been a big seller is jewelry boxes or watch boxes, empty. Like they're just name brand. Like I just found at an estate sale a couple weeks ago a Van Cleef and Arpels box, just a
Okay.
box for a bracelet. And no, actually, it was for a necklace or something like that. Yeah, and I sold it for almost $70. So it was like just an empty box.
Well, I'm glad to hear you say that. I just listed a Spartina 449. Have you heard of that brand?
Yeah, because it's from out here. It's in Charleston. It's
I
based out of
think it's
Charleston.
Stalfusky Island is where
Yeah,
it
just
came
out
from.
off of there. Yeah.
But it's a little mermaid logo. It's really pretty, and they make tote bags and handbags. And I found this little jewelry box. It's just very plain, but it's that seafoam green with the
Oh, yeah.
velvet, and
Hmm.
perfect for travel. And it was $1, so I picked it up. But I love that brand because it's down there off the coast by you. I felt like you'd know
Yes.
what it was.
Yeah, there's a Spartina store in City Market in Savannah. So in
Okay,
fact, I just
okay.
sent a guest over there. So funny. People come and ask me for advice, like, where can I get a purse? Lady's purse had broken as soon as she'd gotten there to
Okay.
the hotel and she needed a purse. So I went my normal way. Like, there's a vintage store right up the street if you just want like something to get you home, or there's a Goodwill around the corner. And then her husband comes back and he goes, we don't want those kind of purses. We want like really nice purses. I'm like, okay, then let's take it a notch up. We'll go to,
Yeah,
then
and
I sent
their
this.
stuff is not cheap.
Oh,
And
I know.
it's very boutiquey. Yeah.
The one that she decided to get was $186 for just a little, crossbody, and she was very happy, so I'm like, "Okay, I wouldn't spend that much on a purse, but that's okay. You could do
Hey,
that."
they're in travel mode and they're gonna splurge and buy nice stuff.
That's right.
Yeah.
So he was a lawyer
Okay.
from Texas, so he was very happy with that, so
And he did not want his wife being seen in Savannah with a Goodwill purse.
yes, obviously, he was a little offended by that. She wasn't, because she was like, "Oh, yeah, that sounds great. I'll go do that." But that's okay. So,
Okay, well, hey, good for them supporting the local business. Because
yep,
I think
I
2 women started that brand.
Oh, really? There's
I
another
think.
one in town called Satchel that's, like a leather purse company. It's, like, very exclusive, but their purses are very expensive. But that's
Hmm.
another one that's in town that if I ever find that, or like Portland leather, if you ever find Portland leather purses, they turn, if you can get it cheap enough, those have also done very well.
Okay.
But
I had
the,
not heard of that, so good.
yeah, The one other thing that I sell a lot of, like going back to the different, or if I find, like if I go to yard sales, or I went to a bunch of community yard sales the last month, I'd find bathroom fixtures like Moen, brand new in the box. I
Mm-hmm.
just didn't end up using them. And those can go for well over $100, you know. So this one was just your basic bathroom one. So it still ended up selling for like 60 or 70, but it was a good, you know, especially if they're brand new and the box was damaged, but everything was in it and all the instructions and everything. So those are always, because people are just saying, yeah, what am I going to do with this? I'm not going to use it. So they're just going to resell it. This guy did know what he had. So his price was a little higher than, but I still made, I doubled my money. So I was fine with that.
Well, Valerie, who was on a couple weeks ago, was talking about she found a bunch of Kohler
Oh, yeah.
faucets and hardware
Colors do really
stuff,
well too.
and
Yeah.
all in the box. And she sold them pretty quickly, and they were easy to ship because they were still in the box.
Hmm.
And I'm wondering also if people in the remodeling business, they have overage, and they get rid of them.
Well, I do have a son and daughter-in-law in the plumbing business and that are here. And the plumbing supply house that my daughter-in-law works for has an actual eBay. They sell on eBay because if they order something like a special order and it wasn't what it was supposed to be, then they end up reselling it on eBay.
Mm-hmm.
So so that I had actually talked to them about working with them about doing that part of it, or just expanding their eBay into just selling, like, you know, stuff since they do get all that wholesale. So,
Right.
but they're not ready to expand quite yet. So I'm waiting on that one.
Well, and it's also a time factor. If, they're busy with their other business, eBay is something you got to learn and pay attention to and maintain. As you know,
Hmm.
I see the parallel between what you said earlier about you're working full time and you're refining your eBay business to focus more on higher dollar items. And when time is an issue, that's what you have to do.
Oh, yeah.
You don't have time to you're like, oh, this is $1 and I know it'll sell for 20, like I just said. But if you're have a full-time job, that's you just have to focus on what's the most profitable.
One advantage of my job, because there is a lot of downtime in the hospitality business, is that I'll get drafts ready to go. And then when I get to work, I can refine them because I can work on my own stuff while as long as I'm being attentive to if somebody comes up to the desk.
Mm-hmm.
So that has been helpful because if I was trying to do just everything, I think I would do a sloppy job just trying to rush through stuff. I still
Mm-hmm.
sometimes rush through my photos, but at least I can edit them and try to make them look better.
Yeah. And with the, eBay tool, the background removal that works most of the time,
Yes, yeah.
you can you can absolutely fine tune stuff later.
Hmm.
That's a great use of your time. Do they know that you're doing that at
Oh,
work?
yeah. Oh,
Okay.
yes, because I usually have my ringer on, and well, it's either that or like my coworker, she is like kind of funny. Every time cha-ching comes in, she's like, "What'd you sell? What'd you sell?" So they all know. In fact,
Oh, okay.
they've given me advantage of if something is in lost and found and nobody is claiming it, then they've given me the items, and I've sold some pants, I've sold some golf shirts, I've sold some shoes, some sunglasses, cases, you know, different things like that. So
Somebody else that was on the podcast was talking about they had access to a lost and found where they worked, and kind of after the items had been there a little while, I think 30 days,
yeah, that's pretty much what we do too.
gave the person time to claim it and realize it was missing. And
Hmm.
if not, then it's fair game. So it's great that you have a fan club at work. It helps you out.
Yes, yeah, yeah. Even the owners know that I do, so they're kind of like, "Oh, what'd you sell this time?" You know, stuff like that.
Oh,
So
okay. So they're
yeah,
very
so at
interested.
least it's a positive situation. And they actually, some of them have actually brought in things that, hey, we were just going to give this away. You want to go ahead and sell it on eBay, and we don't need anything from it. You can just have it. And so
Oh, nice.
yeah, one of my coworkers gave me a Kate Spade purse to do that way, and yeah, so it's not like just, you know, stuff that does, oh, thanks, I don't, you know, this is not going to work. Another one gave me a Vera Bradley. That one's still in my store, but it's you know, I've had a lot of activity on it. It just hasn't
Mm-hmm.
sold yet. It's been a great journey as far as that's concerned. You know, it's kind of like once people know that I do this, then they're like very intrigued, and then they're like, "Oh, what would you think this would sell for?" So I'm kind of become like the resident expert, like at church. They all know I do it at church, so they
Oh,
a
okay.
lot of people like one of the pastors got in touch with me the other day, and he goes, "Hey, we're going to be donating a whole bunch of stuff. Do you want to look through it first?" At that point, I was like getting ready for my trip, and I was like, I had so much inventory because I had done this really big estate sale, like the biggest I'd ever done. And I was just like swimming in inventory and trying to figure out how I'm going to do all this stuff. And I had to pass on it. But it's like, I don't, before I would like anybody gives me anything, I would take it. But then my death pile was getting quite large. So I'm
Mhm.
trying to get it a little bit more manageable so that I'm not sitting there. I mean, because then it's like, of course, the thrifting and the search is the funnest part of this business for me. And I've got my shipping down pretty easy, and the listing, I got it down to a pretty fast process. But it's like getting myself started. Just trying to make sure I'm trying to stay consistent, doing so many listings a day, and
Well, and
doesn't.
it can be overwhelming when you have so much to list and you go in that space and you're like, okay, I need to pick something, and
Yeah.
you sort of overthink it a little bit, analysis paralysis. And I've had to learn to just grab something and go. It doesn't matter. It's
I know
all
once I
gonna,
start, yeah,
yeah,
once I
it's
start,
all going
that's
to get
it.
listed. So it doesn't matter which thing you pick first. Just do something. Now you have a list there of things. Do you want to talk about those?
Well, the one other thing that I have done that is different, and I don't know if anybody has ever really talked about this, is when you're looking at your cost on of goods and all this other, the shipping, the fees, and all that kind of stuff, I have started keeping track of my selling differences. So when I set up a listing, I'm not like, sometimes I'm weighing the item if I know it's going to be like, I don't know how much it's going to be. And then I usually give, anywhere for half a pound to a pound for a box. So I'm pretty good at estimating, and I'll measure. So I make sure that when I set it up, it's going to be pretty close to what it actually will be. But a lot of times it ends up being less or more, but most of the time it ends up being a little bit less. Like it'll weigh less, and it'll change the price of the shipping. So I've been starting to keep track of that difference. So I'm writing down what the buyer is paying for the shipping, what I actually pay for the shipping, and then and it's just a quick calculation what the difference is. And so I've been keeping track on a steno pad. It's just easier for me to do that way. So, so some days I'll have a little bit of like, I really underestimated something. I had like a $5 deficit. So I'll say minus five something. I haven't like been adding it up by the month, but it's kind of like an encouragement to say that, okay, even though eBay's taking all these fees, I'm still earning a little bit more money by keeping track of this, or at least kind of noting that I have that. So that's just like one thing, because that's like one of those things that you're not really aware of. In a sense, everybody knows if you've paid more or less for your shipping, but keeping track of that is part of like, okay, this is also income too. It might be less than $30, but it's still money, like monthly, kind of thing like that. So that's
Yeah.
like one thing that I've started doing recently. And that also helps me too. If something's gotten lost in the mail, or if something's been damaged, I can go back and see, what I paid for shipping. And even though I had something damaged the other day, one of those IKEA shelves I mentioned, because it
Mhm.
had to go all the way from Georgia to Washington State. I didn't have a box because they were long, but I did have it pretty well protected. Well, the package was like all ripped up when it got to. So, but the shelf itself was just like one corner was just a little bit dented, and the lady was okay with that. She said, "Why don't you just give me back like half the shipping cost?" But I was sitting there thinking, I'd file a claim for this because she had taken a picture of it at the post office when she picked up the package. And the post office said, "Oh, well, they didn't pack it well enough, so it's their problem." So I'm like, I'm not going to win this one. So I'm not going to go bother with filing a claim. But it's not, that's the one thing I think is that it's just so hard to file a claim when you have to have the buyer has to take it in to have it all
Mhm.
checked out and stuff. So,
Yeah, you have to have their cooperation, and it's often an inconvenience for them.
mhm,
They're already a little upset that their item arrived broken,
yeah.
and now they've got to go to the post office and maybe stand in line and do all that stuff. And some of them just don't. They just want their money back.
when I'm shipping out a lot, I have like I write down the name of the person that's buying it on the package so that I don't mess up the labels. But I have
Mhm.
had a couple of mess ups. And one of them where it did go to like Oregon and had to come back to South Carolina. It just took the lady forever to get back to the post office to get the package back to me. So I ended up having to refund the person that it was intended for. That's happened a
Mhm.
couple times. That's kind of a bummer, but it's like you just kind of got to deal with it and move on. Just
Mhm.
get it taken
True.
care of.
Well, do you have any information about recent sales?
I posted it on the 100 plus, and I think on the week was the nobody has ever heard of Lynn Haney's Christmas Santas. They were based in, I think he might still be in Pennsylvania. If you have you ever heard of these before?
No.
So Lynn is a man, Lynn. Haney is Haney. He made these limited edition bears. Not bears. Sorry, one of them's got a bear that I'm selling right now. Santas. They're pretty large. Like the ones I've sold have been anywhere from 18 inches to 24-inch tall. They're really
Okay.
solid. So, when you go to Christmas stores, a lot of them have these like taller Santas to use for decor. Well,
Mm-hmm.
this is like, I feel like these were like the original ones, but they're solid. They're not like made with plastic or have plastic lining on the whole body. Everything is like very secure. But they go for, he sells them now. They still sell them. He puts out a limited edition every year and they sell for like $450. That's the
Yeah, I
brand.
just I just put it into Google and I'm looking at them right now, and they're
Yeah.
very old world looking. Uh,
Yes. Yeah. And they has
and
different, every year he comes out with 3 or 4 different models.
and it's
So he
just
used,
his name in cursive on the
yeah.
bottom, like where
Yeah.
the wood is, and it's
Yeah.
just
So he signs each of the pieces as well.
okay.
Yeah. So my first one I found a couple years ago at an estate sale on the pictures. I just did a well, actually, did they even have Google search then? I think I just did a search because there were enough details on the pictures to be able to find out that this was a Lynn Haney. And my friend actually got to the estate sale before me and she picked it up for me. I paid like $60 and I turned it around for about 170. I went to an estate sale in this gated community a couple of weeks ago with my son, and they must have had 8 of these figures at this. They wanted $89 a piece for them, and I couldn't get really good Wi-Fi there. Some of the models sell better than others. So when you look at the solds, like I ended up buying 4 of them, I think is what it was. I've already sold 2 of them, so I have 2 more to go. I haven't made my money on the whole lot yet, but I've already made well over on the 2 that I sold. So that is something. In fact, my sister that I told you that's the organizer in California, the estate that she's settling right now has so much stuff. She was in this gated community as well, and the lady just was a collector. Hoarder, I guess you would have to say, but not in the dirty sense. She had
Let's
very
just say
high.
collector and leave
Yeah.
it at that,
I know, really collector. Yeah. She had Yardos, just about she has Hummels, she had artwork, and it's just goes on and on and on. So my sister is using MaxSold to help liquidate this estate. And the listing that she has going on right now has over 300 lots in it. And
Oh,
those aren't all individual. There's some bunches of things in it, but there's like purses, there's shoes, household goods, there's just a little bit of everything. So she told me she has a bunch of Santas in it. She said she wanted to know about Lynn Haney again. And she said, well, how do you tell if it's a Lynn Haney? And I said, well, it have a label on the bottom and they are all signed. So
yeah, I'm
it's,
looking at these on Google right now while we're talking, and
uh-huh.
it almost looks German, the way the Santa has the really long beard,
Oh yeah.
and like this one has a velvet coat, and he's holding a violin, and he's got like the
Yeah,
pine
they're
wreath
all they're
on
all
his,
like old school, like yeah,
and
like English.
very like nature. He's got like a pine wreath on his head, and I mean it doesn't look like anything. This one is priced at $1,200.
Yeah.
It's not like Jim Shore where you know what that looks like.
Uh-huh.
This looks kind of like, oh, did somebody get this at Home Goods or
Yeah, so
what?
they have a lot of that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of things that are faked. So, but once you pick up one of these things, if you ever find one, they are really solid and you don't feel like it's going to fall apart when you pick it up.
Mm-hmm.
They're a
And
little bit on the
they're
heavier side.
beautiful. Yeah, they're almost rustic looking. Okay. Well, I did not know that. So we'll add that to the BOLO list.
Yeah, you got these definitely a bolo. The other thing I was trying to find, I'm going back to my at this one in sale. Like I said, I always look for really kind of strange things, or different types of things. So this one had a lot of German incense burners, but they're little figurine. So I ended up buying they're little wooden figures, and these ones were made by a particular person. They're called incense smokers. So they have these little figurines. So like the one I found was one was a Harley Davidson, and the other one was like Saint Nicholas. You put a little cone of incense in the bottom of it,
Mm-hmm.
and they're all wooden. Like these were brand new. I think somebody had just probably set them out for more like decorative type thing. Kathy Wolfhot is the brand, and then there's another one that's ECHT, but they're called incense smokers. So I had sold one that was Harley Davidson incense smoker. It's got like it's a dry like a rider with a motorcycle wheel. These were really peculiar, but one of them sold for $70, and came in their original boxes and everything.
Yeah, I'm looking those up now, and it's just like a little wooden figure.
Yeah, yeah. So these were a little bit taller. Like the Harley Davidson guy was 9.5 inches tall, and but those are kind of another weird thing that it's like, what is this thing? I
It
just have
kind
to
of
look it up.
reminds me of like a nutcracker where it's got the
Yes.
hinged arms, and it's just again sort of old world looking, and wood that's painted. And
Hmm.
like, where do you put the incense is my
So
question.
if you look at one of the pictures, mine is a wizard one. The one that I still have listed, the ones I've sold already were like Saint Nicholas and the Harley Davidson. If you look through some of the pictures, the bottom comes off of it. There's a little metal stand, and you put the little cone, the little incense cone on that.
Okay. Yeah, the one I found is a beekeeper.
Oh,
That's
okay.
that's cool. And then the smoke comes out of his mouth.
Yeah. So I haven't actually tried any of these out to see what they look like, but this was like the most weird thing that I think I've found recently.
Yeah, all of these are priced over $100. There's one on Etsy that is what you said, vintage expertic German carved wood incense smoker. And it's like a guy with a beard, and he's holding a tray full of toys, and he's $400.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I don't know if mine were vintage or not, but they were in perfect condition. So that's another one thing that's been recently. It's like I'll keep looking for these now. Since I'm in a military community, there are a lot of people that are, so people that are traveling all over the world.
Oh, they've got things from foreign countries.
Yes. So
Okay.
when I
All
go to
right.
yard sales or estate sales, and a lot of people retire here. So mostly Army, because there's 2 Army bases right here.
And so what are you near? Which bases?
Fort Stewart is in Hinesville, and that's about half an hour south of me, about 45 minutes from Savannah. And then Hunter Air Base is in Savannah,
Okay.
down on the south side of Savannah. So that's the Army, they're both Army bases. So we
Well,
have a
that
lot
is a brilliant correlation to draw. People that have traveled the world are settling there, and
yeah.
they have all this stuff that they've been carrying around with them. So you're going to see different things.
Yes, I think my biggest woe in all this is that I don't have enough time to go to all these different, especially if I have 3 or 4 main estate sale companies that I frequent, but a lot of times they have sales at the same time, and I can't make more than one of
So
them.
you suffer from FOMO,
Oh, definitely.
fear of
That's a
missing
real
out.
thing.
I mean, you said like some of the guests, they just have so much around them. You can't get to everything on a Saturday morning. You just have to
I
pick.
know.
There's just
Especially if
no
there's a
way.
community yard sale. So I'm at a community yard sale on Saturday, and my son, who is the plumber, he was out, but he's also cycling. So he's out on the road doing a bike ride, and he passes this church that I'd gone to this church sale last month at, and he says, "Mom, they're having another sale." And I'm like, I can't get over there in time because I had to go to work. I work on
Right.
Saturdays and Sundays. So yeah, we were talking to my friends about if I could get to like a day shift, it'd be more family friendly for me, at my day job. But
Mhm.
then I wouldn't be able to I do thrifting. I'm doing a lot of stuff in the morning. It's just,
Mhm.
so I'm just trying to find the balance with all of it, because in fact, I was going to move in with my daughter and son-in-law, and his first question was, is she bringing all of her eBay inventory with her? And I decided not to do that because I'm not quite ready to be the built-in babysitter. I mean, I love my grandkids, but I still like my independence.
Yeah, that's making yourself a little too available sometimes.
Yeah, especially since her kids are 9 and under. So she's
Uh-huh.
it's a busy household, and I kind of like my quiet a little
Well,
bit.
I will say that my mom lived with me back right after I got divorced. I was in this big house. I had room for her. She had just had hip surgery,
Mm,
and so I volunteered, come stay here. And she lived with us for about a year and a half. And my kids were elementary school, and it was really nice to have another driver to, help pick them up from their activities and have somebody there where I could run out to the thrift store and things like that. But
mhm.
I try not to take advantage, but she offered a lot of times. She's like, "Hey, if you want to run up to the thrift store, I'll be around for the next couple hours." And okay, I never turned that down.
Oh, yeah. No, definitely not. Yeah. Well, I
So
think a
yeah,
lot of my kids have the bug. They do. They buy most of their stuff at thrift stores as well.
good for them.
Yeah. I think the funnest time I remember was that the son that's living with me now, he's 25, almost 26. When he was in high school, he got a whole bunch of his friends and they all went to this really large thrift store. That's when we were in Maryland still. And not most of these boys had never been to a thrift store before. They had no idea. Once they saw what they could get at a thrift store, and they were like sold. So he turned them
Hmm.
all into believers. So it's been fun.
Now, I remember you have a lot of kids. How many?
Yeah, 9.
You have 9.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
yeah. My youngest is 20, and my oldest is 35.
So are you being interviewed for a reality show or anything?
No, no. I'm divorced as well, so it's our family's kind of splintered all over the place. I have 3 still in Colorado, 2 in Maryland, and 4 down here. But my daughter, with all the kids here, is moving to Texas next month. So
Oh.
yes, reevaluating because I have 2 kids that I'm still trying to get launched. My son is
Mhm.
in the process of joining the military, and my daughter is moving back from college, my youngest. So, but we're trying to figure out, what does she want to be when she grows up? What are we going to do with, everything? So,
Right. Now, where in Texas is this daughter moving?
between Dallas and Fort Worth in the area there.
So great place for you to visit and go
Well,
thrifting.
is it? Well, see, I know I'm going to help them move, and then I'll fly back home. So yeah, I don't know if we're driving out or if we're flying. So we haven't gotten that far yet. So they sold their house. So this must be a buyer's market. I just have to say that when it's time to move and things are everything, God just totally was very good with them because it was a buyer's market. They had some friends that wanted to buy the house, but their offer was like below off asking price. They had a few more showings. By the time 2 more days, they decided to hold off on any of the offers until all of them came in. They ended up getting 4 offers within the first weekend of listing it, and there were a few of them had escalation clauses. So it became a seller's market as opposed to buyers.
Mhm.
So they got a lot over their asking price. So because the housing
Good.
in the area where they're looking is more expensive. I mean,
Mhm.
they have 5 children, and their house is over 4,200 square feet. So
Oh my.
yeah, so they need a big house for their kids.
Oh gosh. Well, okay. You've got kids all over the place. Good for
Yeah,
you. Good for
yeah, it
you that
does kind of make it hard.
they're not all in your basement playing video games.
Now, no basements in Georgia. We're too close to sea level. So
Well, down there, I mean, I was in Atlanta. We all had basements, but yeah, the sea level thing
well, we're
gets you.
coastal Georgia, so
Right, different.
it's. I mean, it's so weird because Savannah has where we are in the historic district has basements, but we're on
Hmm.
a table bluff because the river is down. Like you have to go down the step. Have you been to Savannah?
Oh yeah, several times. Hmm.
Yeah, so River Street's down below, so you have to take those stairs of death to get down there. So so I always was like amazed at that. But I don't think the rest of Savannah has any basements. I think it's just that historic
Oh
district
yeah,
is
that
beyond
makes
it.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
My most memorable trip to Savannah, I was in fourth grade with the Girl Scouts going
Okay.
down to visit the Juliette Lowe house, who
Mm-hmm.
she founded the Girl Scouts. I've been other times, but that's the one I remember because it was so exciting to go on a trip with the Girl Scouts. So, anyway, well, we have made it about an hour here. Do you have any closing arguments or any last words?
I think the only thing I'd have to say is for people to provide great customer service. I think that's been my motto, is not to sweat the returns and stuff, trying to make sure that we go well, I mean, I was in that, second mile culture with Chick-fil-A. I'm always going above and beyond.
Mhm.
Because I don't want well, for one thing, I don't want to lose my top rated seller. I don't want negative comments. I want to make sure that people are pleased. I think that's kind of part of this whole package deal. It's like we're not
Right.
just selling to earn money. We're selling, I mean, it's kind of our reputation, I guess, in a sense. You want to be somebody that's integrity and that is serving people and providing something that they need. So
Right.
kind
And
of
the transaction doesn't end when you ship the item. It's making sure they're happy. And if there is a problem, that you solve it. So you
mhm.
just have to close the loop on the whole process. Sometimes you never get feedback. And then sometimes you get it and they're so happy. And it's just like, that's a victory because you did the whole process, start to finish, and everybody's happy.
Yep, and can move on.
Good. Okay. Well, so what do you have lined up for the rest of your day?
I'm going to list some more stuff. I brought back so much stuff from California. I'm
Right.
selling some stuff for one of my sisters and also the rest of the shoes from that suitcase. Oh, and did I say that Delta actually replaced? Yeah, so I got my free
Yes.
suitcases coming in the mail in a couple days here. So,
Did you get a good one? What brand? Do you know?
I want to say it was what's the Beverly Hills one? Richard something Beverly Hills. I don't know. It's I don't even remember the brand that they're, but it was on their website. I mean, I still got like a $200 or $300 suitcase out of it.
Because everybody's going to want to know, are you going to keep it or are you going to sell it?
Well, that's what I don't travel that often, and I do have other suitcases, so I'm tempted to, I might just, because it's going to come in its original box, so it'd be easy to
Right.
ship.
So it'll be all boxed up and you can just flip that and have some cash.
Yeah, and I don't have any, I didn't have any money into the one that I got from my sister. So
Don't you love how that works out sometimes?
I know.
Okay, well, thanks again for coming on and giving us an update, and good luck with your ghostly tenants at the hotel. That's just fun. I love that. So, okay, well, have a good rest of your day, and we'll see you on the group.
All right, sounds great. Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.
Now, about Terry's haunted hotel. After our conversation, I did what any curious person would do, headed over to YouTube. Sure enough, there are several ghost hunting videos featuring the Marshall House. I wanted to get a glimpse of the inside and learn more about its history. Whether you believe in hauntings or not, Savannah is a fascinating city with a rich and colorful past that is well worth exploring. Needless to say, I fell down that rabbit hole for a while. Next week, my guest is Jason, who lives just down the road from me in Charlotte, North Carolina. Jason's specialty is Boy Scout memorabilia, and he shares some excellent insights into what collectors are looking for and which items command the most interest. So the next time you're at an estate sale and spot a table full of Boy Scout patches, uniforms, or memorabilia, you'll have a much better idea of how to separate the ordinary from the diamonds in the rough. That's it for this week. Keep listing, learning, and keep moving forward. Talk to you next time. Bye-bye.